Hello, everyone. Jay Bryan here, and I want to welcome you to this free accompanying training to the how-to guide to employee slash learner engagement. If you've gotten this free guide, then you will soon receive, if you have not already received this, free training that goes along with it. So this is the how-to guide to employee slash learner engagement for L&D professionals and corporate trainers. So starting from the top, this how-to guide is for corporate trainers, learning and development managers, instructional designers, and really anyone involved in learning and development. According to visuallab.com, learner slash employee engagement is one of the top challenges currently facing L&D professionals. The following are 10 tried and true tips to increase and keep learner slash employee engagement. First tip, don't read straight off the page like I just did. No, seriously, you all. We're going to talk about 10 tips that have been very helpful to me, and I know they're extremely helpful to you all as well. They will be helpful to you all. Whether you are a corporate trainer like I am with almost a decade of experience, or if you're an L&D professional of any type, you may work with a team of corporate trainers, you may manage a manager of an L&D group of trainers. So whatever the case, if you're involved in learning and development in any way, there's going to come a time where you will most likely have to engage a learner and or an employee. So we're going to talk about 10 tried and true engagement tips. So the first one is to figure out your style. We all have our own style. We all have our own style of training, and there are actually 4 different types of trainer styles. You have your solver. These are your go-getter type styles. Oftentimes in a classroom setting, this person, they're not really focused on people's feelings as much, those kind of people situations. They'll take care of them accordingly, but their main goal is to finish the training, get the trainees through, finish the training, make sure they learn the material, finish the training to get that end result so that you can move forward. Same thing if you're dealing with a meeting with your team. If you're a manager of some sort, you're just wanting to get the thing done, get the meeting done, get the idea presented so you can go ahead and move on to your next task for the day. Very results oriented. Next, you have your connector. These are the types of training, these are the types of trainers that seek to, as the name states, connect. They want to, if you're a connector, if this is your style, you want to really, you really want to make that, you want to put yourself and that other person together. You want to see how you can relate to them. That's the word I'm looking for, relate. You want to relate to that person or the group of people. And we're going to talk a little more about that shortly, but you want to relate to them, whether that be because you both come from the same city, maybe you went to the same college, maybe you and that trainee or that employee enjoy some of the same hobbies, but even in your communication style, you'll seek to connect. They might say things like, you know what I mean, right, guys? Such and such, such and such. That is a connector. Then you have your supporter. Supporters, they are also more people oriented, but the thing with supporters is they more so will seek to help people with whatever they need. They want to help people with whatever they need, including their trainees, their employees. So you'll oftentimes hear supporters say, I really want to find out what you guys need. As a class, as a team, if you're managing a team, you may oftentimes be wondering, what do I need to do to support my team? Then there is the analyst style. The analyst style of trainer, this is the person who is very, very detail oriented. They want all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. They want to make sure that the details are ironed out so that things run smoothly. So that spreadsheet, that document, that they want you to have all the processes, the step-by-step processes required to do what you need to do. This style will often be found answering questions or also asking a lot of questions to gather information so that they can be as detail oriented as possible. Now, a great way to find out which one of these styles you are is to take a DISC assessment. These styles are based off of the DISC assessment. And of course, you can do your own research on the DISC styles. But if you kind of look at it from 1 to 4, DISC, that's how you line that up right there. DISC, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can kind of look those ways of behavior up, but they really translate over, and they really come into play when it comes to engaging your class / your team. So another thing about these styles is you can be a combination of these 2 styles or 3 styles. You can be a combination. Me personally, I'm a combination of the supporter style and the connector style. I'm a combination of both, probably a little more connector, probably about half and half if I had to say. So figure out what your trainer style is. It's very important to start with. That's the best starting point in order to engage with your participants, your learners, or your team the best. That's a good starting point. Figure out which one you are and use it to your advantage. Be yourself. Be yourself. That's the best. The best you can ever be is yourself. The best you can ever be is yourself. Tip number 2, brain breaks are your friend. So believe it or not, breaks are a great way to engage your employees / learners. So as we continue throughout a class or meeting, I want you to think of it as if your learners are walking on a road, they're on a journey, and you're walking beside them, just talking to them about whatever you're needing to communicate, whatever content you're teaching them. Guys, the first few minutes, obviously, no problem. They're for sure going to be listening to you. But imagine if you've been talking to them for 10 minutes straight. 10 minutes straight, you've been talking about a piece of content or an idea or something coming down the pipeline from the company. The person who you're walking beside talking to, they're looking off at the trees. They're looking at the, is that a squirrel? What is that over there? I promise you, 99% of them are no longer paying attention to what you're saying as much as they were at the beginning. So in order to give their brain a rest for a second, you can do what's called a brain break. And a brain break just says, hey, let's stop right here on the side of the road for a second. You know what? We'll just stop talking for a second. Let's go over here and just relax for a minute. Let's relax. So when it comes to engaging with your learners, a brain break looks like saying, hey, everyone, we're going to take just a few minutes away from the Zoom screen or the whatever virtual setting you're doing, or the training room that you're in, or the meeting room. We're going to take a few minutes. 5 to 10 is a good range. We're going to take a few minutes and we're going to give our brains a rest. We're going to give our eyes a rest. We're going to give ourselves a chance to recharge. And when they come back from that brain break, when they get back on that road of learning, they're going to be ready again to hear what you had to say, and they will be re-engaged. So a break is a great way to actually engage your participants with the content. Tip number 3, side conversations are a good thing. Now, I bet you've never heard this. Crazy, right? You've never heard that side combos were good. So when it comes to trainings, meetings, as I mentioned before, they can get monotonous, right? They can feel like they're starting to get a little stale, dull, and not because the person presenting is stale or dull. They may get stale or dull because you're literally sitting, a person, the participant, the learner, or the employee is sitting, and they're not doing anything. They're just sitting and listening. And listening is an action. Listening is an action. So they're listening for the entire time. They're just listening. And after a while, that gets boring. Listening gets boring. So they can become monotonous. Side conversations. If you see a learner or an employee having a side conversation, that's actually that person's way of breaking up the dullness or the staleness of having been listening that whole time. So they're actually, in a way, giving themselves a break so that they can re-engage. So how do you use a side conversation to your advantage? Well, use them to your advantage by allowing the conversations to happen. But here's the caveat to this, because you don't want to let your meeting or your training get out of control. Allow them to happen, but know when and how to stop them when it's time to move forward. A great technique I suggest for this, and this will be discussed in other trainings on my YouTube channel, but a great way to stop this is the catch and release technique. So after you let that convo go on for a while, you jump in, insert yourself into the convo, that's you catching it, because whoever is talking at the time has control, or at least part control. So jump in, hey, yeah, absolutely, I did. I enjoyed that movie as well. And once you have control, once you do that catch, you can then release and you can move forward with the convo. So what that looks like is, hey guys, you know what? I enjoy that same thing. Let's go ahead and discuss our next segment, which we're going to be talking about so and so, whatever the subject matter is. So that's how you do that, you all. So tip number 4, don't just train the material, train how to think about the material. So I oftentimes, when I work with organizations or work with individuals, I always say, you're not just training slides or content or passing along an idea to your team. You can actually tell them how to think about what they're about to hear or what they're about to see. Believe it or not, everyone that you're working with doesn't always know how to think about what they hear. And when they don't know what to do, they become confused. Not that they don't understand what you're saying, but they don't know what to do with that in their mind. So they may feel a variety of emotions. They may shut down. So you can actually help teach people how to approach something. So if we look at the next section of this guide, instead of just showing your team / learners the information, teach them a framework on how to process the information. For example, when you look at this data, focus on this metric A and metric B. The rest we could think about another day. You're telling them, when you see this piece of information, when you see this right here, look at this part and this part. There'll be a lot of stuff on here. Just look at these 2 things, because that's what's important for them to look at the time. The rest of it, we can look at another time. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's going to follow that, but you can at least provide that framework to them. If they don't have that framework and you say, look at this document or look at this data, they're going to look all over the page, all over the slide, and they will look at what they want to look at. Well, they're going to do that anyway. They're going to look at what they want to look at anyway, but they will look at what they want to look at, and this could lead to them shutting down. This could lead to problems at the end of the day. So you want to get in the habit of not just teaching material. You want to engage your learners, your staff, your corporate trainers, your team. You want to engage them by providing frameworks as well. Tip number 5, use the picture of me activity to connect. The picture of me activity. This activity gives the employee / learner an opportunity to talk about themselves. which, by the way, is many people's favorite activity. So believe it or not, we're all tuned into the same radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? People love to talk about themselves, which is fine. That's a-okay. How can we use that to our advantage? So in order to do this, you all, you will need to have the learners or the employees go into they can go into any kind of slideshow, document, any kind of blank document, slideshow, anything like that. And what they want to do is you want to tell them, hey, we're going to take maybe 10 minutes. I want you to go onto Google or something like that and find pictures that are of things that you enjoy. And tell them to try to focus on things, if possible, focus on things that people wouldn't know necessarily. Not any deep, dark secrets or anything, but stuff that people just wouldn't know from talking to them. And tell them to take those pictures from Google or wherever and paste them on that slideshow, copy and paste them onto that slide. Make a collage. It doesn't have to be too many pictures. It can be 5, 6 pictures at most. Then have them share that slide they created with the group and discuss what these pictures mean. Employees, learners, they love, they're highly engaged by this activity because it gives them an opportunity to talk about themselves, what's important to them, and you never know. They can then connect with other learners in the class or other people in the meeting or other trainers on their team or other people on their team, other employees that like the same things. Tip number 6, use your trainer/behavior style when engaging the group. So when you're training, when addressing the group/team/class, use your behavior/trainer style. It's tough to change styles in the middle of a class/meeting, and this can disengage many learners or employees. So what I mean by this, you all, is if you're a connector, train in your normal style when you're training a group. If you are a connector and you're having a team meeting, you're a manager over other people, you're working with other people. If you're talking to the group, just talk in your normal style. Run your class in your style when you're engaging a group of people. So I'm engaging a group right now. Now you all may see it at different times, but I'm engaging a group. This is how I normally talk. I talk like this off camera, on camera, I just talk like this. This is how I speak. This is my style of training that you all are seeing right now. So as I'm engaging you all, since y'all are a group, everyone who's watching this or going to watch this accompanying training, you are seeing my style. Now, if we were in a classroom setting and I were to all of a sudden switch up to, let's say, a solver style. All right, let's go. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and go to the next tip right here. And yeah, use the learner employees behavior. So that is a switch up of style in the middle of the class. Now, that might be something that you do, go for it, but I wouldn't recommend it because once you start training or running a meeting a certain way, your employees or learners, whoever they may be, are expecting that style the whole time. They're expecting you to be yourself the whole time they go through class, which is fine. Be yourself. That's what we want at the end of the day. That's what we want. So when addressing the group or class or team, however this applies to you, be yourself. Use your style. Now, let's look at the next tip. Use the learner/employee's behavior style when engaging the individual. So let's say an individual comes up to you. Let's look at this right quick first. On the other hand, when working with an individual, employee, or learner, communicate with them in their behavior style. So let's say somebody messages you on your company chat or emails you, or they talk to you, they pull you to the side in person and they're like, hey man, I'm going through such and such problem, or I'm dealing with this, or they might be telling you something good. I don't know. When you're talking to an individual, remember when I told you that everyone's tuned into WIIFM? People want people want others to be like them. That's how they begin to like them, because they are like them. And anyone who's worked in sales or anything of that nature, you might already know how it goes. Know, they know of you, like, they begin to like you, then they trust you. And those steps of rapport, of connection, of engagement with someone happen when someone sees that they have a connection to you. So in order to do this, you have to, of course, kind of know the four styles. And again, those four styles are your solver, your connector, your supporter, and your analyzer. You can tell which style someone is typically by what they talk about, how much they speak, what they're asking about, what they're how they carry themselves. You can tell a lot of this just by watching someone, having conversations with them. So when someone comes to you and even if you think, if you don't know, do your best guess. Do your best guess to try to figure out what style this person is best you can and respond in their style. So if someone is asking you a lot of questions on the side, let's say they're like, hey, and of course, this is hoping, of course, that you have time to answer these questions. Like, hey, I need some help. I have some questions about such and such. They ask you a question, respond to the question, and you answer it. Then they ask you another question about more details, respond to the question. They ask you more. Someone who asks a lot of questions, or they really want to know about the details of something, they're probably an analyzer. If they're an analyzer style, then the best thing you can do is just answer their questions because they want to know all the details. A connector style. Hey, Mr. Jay, would you mind? I need some help with something, man. I know. Yeah, man. I'm telling you. I'm loving the training, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving learning about all the systems and the slides you're showing. You're a great trainer, man. Definitely, definitely. I heard you say you went to such and such college. I went to the college. That's probably a connector. That's probably a connector. If that's a connector, you can just talk to them about anything that they mentioned. I did go to that college. Yeah, I did. When were you there? Oh, yeah, you went during. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Because a connector wants to connect. Their style, they want to connect. So you can talk to them. That will engage them as an individual. That will build that rapport, and that will allow you to, when they do get back into that classroom setting, they will be even more engaged in the training because they know that you are like them. And by the way, everyone has all four of these styles in them. So don't think, oh, well, I'm a supporter, so I could never be a solver, act like a solver. You have that in you to be a solver. Okay. So just remember that. All right. Tip number 8, use mind switches to instantly re-engage. What is a mind switch? Mind switches are simply ways that break up the routine of the class. Mind switches are helpful for both the learner and slash employee, as well as the trainer slash manager. So there are all kinds of examples of mind switches. Here's some that occur. Having another trainee read, having another trainee read, or having one of your team members read something. You share the screen, they read it off. Telling the group to read. You share your screen and the group just reads silently. Having them put something in chat, having them write something on their notes, having them write something on a sheet of paper and hold it up. That's a mind switch because it breaks up just the routine. Having someone else, maybe a co-trainer or co-facilitator, having someone else come in and facilitate just a small little piece of the material. That's a mind switch. When we're in classes, you all, or we're in meetings, we're probably used to hearing the same voice day in, day out. We're used to hearing the same voice, our trainer's voice, our manager's voice. So as students, we love to hear a different voice, whether that's somebody else reading, or maybe another trainer or another manager, or maybe your manager does the meeting instead one week. This switch up, this mind switch, these mind switches are amazing ways to break up the routine of class, and they will allow, or meeting, and they will allow the engagement to continue strongly. Tip number 9, be a fellow human, not just a trainer slash manager. It's okay for you not to be the subject matter expert on the content you're facilitating. If this is the case, let the learner slash team know. Admit any mistakes you make quickly as well. This engages the learner slash employee because it lets them know you're not only their trainer slash leader, but also you're a human. Now, why is this important? Well, oftentimes, because of the position of authority that you might be in, your team or your learners may look at you as kind of this God, if you will, small g, God. They might look at you as like this all powerful, know everything, not a know it all, but somebody who literally knows it all. Almost not even human. And you are human though. You are human. We're all human. So we want to make sure and convey that to our trainees, because not only does it make you more relatable and build that rapport, but it also engages them even more to know that you're human, that you don't know everything, that you made a mistake, to see you get flustered a little bit, to see that you're not a subject matter expert. If that is the case, if you make a mistake, if you're not a subject matter expert, tell them you don't know. Like, I don't know that, but tell you what, I'll be glad to find out. If you get flustered, say, you know what, sorry, you all, I got a little flustered just then. Forgive me, forgive me. If you told them something wrong by mistake, come back and say, hey, I gave y'all the wrong document. That is my fault. If they come back and say this activity that we did, it was, I don't know, it was too hard. Say, you know what, and you know that you could have done something better to facilitate that activity or that information. Say, you know what, my bad, I'm sorry. This is what I should have done, what I could have done to make that better. My apologies, I take full responsibility. I'll gladly fix that for the next class, next time we do that activity. Thank you for letting me know. Those are all examples of just you humanizing yourself. And that lets them know, okay, he is my trainer, because they're not going to stop saying you're their trainer. But that lets them know that you are human as well. You're human as well, like them. And that helps with the engagement. They will much rather engage with a human than a robot. I promise you. They will hear the information and learn it better from a human than a robot. I promise you, over the long term. Then the final tip, ask them what is needed and give it to them. Ask. Using an end of course survey or using end of course surveys and evaluations are a couple of amazing ways to find out information such as what kind of training do you personally need? If you can provide this training or incorporate it into the current content, your learner slash employee engagement will go through the roof. So you all, just as it says, ask your employees what they need. Ask your learners what they need. Ask them what they think or what they thought of your class. Ask them this, find out exactly what they need, because that is how not only you engage them more by providing that, but that is how you retain them even more. And you all have probably read, I know that I've read, I've heard that it costs a lot of money to train new employees or to onboard a new team member. It costs a lot of money, a lot of time. So why not retain the ones we have? Why not find out what they need, what they want, and give it to them? And the companies, the organizations, the individuals that do that, you'll find yourself in constant increase and constant promotion because of the results that you're getting for yourself and for your company. So to bring me in, says to bring Jay, that's me, to bring me in to work with your learning and development organization or your team of corporate trainers, whether in person or virtual, you can email us at info@jbryanspeaks.com. Again, that is info at JayBryanspeaks.com. And of course, y'all see my lovely smiling face down there at the bottom. And then that's the website you can visit for even more information on how I help corporate trainers engage and retain, or L&D professionals, help them engage and retain. www.jbryanspeaks.com. Again, that's www.jbryanspeaks.com. One more time, that's www.jaybryanspeaks.com. Man, I appreciate the opportunity to work with you all. You all, please, 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 please get out there and get engaged. Get engaged, get connected with your team, your learners, and I promise you, you will elevate. Y'all have a great one. Peace.